If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, here's some good news. Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff to help you out. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that leaves your tush feeling tingly clean. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is free with your membership. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products for just $5. You can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. It comes with Body Cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, and their world-famous shave butter. And their best razor, the 6-Blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in a shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Chad.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I reached out to Sarah Sanders, and she referred me to her Twitter account in which she confirmed this story. She writes, quote, "Last night I was told by the owner of Red Hen in Lexington, Virginia, to leave because I work for President Trump, and I politely left. Her actions say far more about her than about me. I always do my best to treat people, including those I disagree with, respectfully, and will continue to do so."
Don't do it anymore. The left doesn't want to treat you that way. Then why should you treat anybody? Oh, because you're a bigger person. You're a bigger person. Chad, it's about inclusivity, and the best way to do it is to be horrible and to be groupthink. And if we can do that, if we can be groupthink, if we can be horrible to somebody we don't agree with, not like the right does. I mean, the right does it, but they do it in the wrong way. Our hatred is morally upstanding. Their hatred is wrong. This is what we have here. So here is Sarah Huckabee Sanders, right, who gets lambasted everywhere she goes, who gets destroyed by the left everywhere she goes, who gets absolutely clobbered on all kinds of talk shows and Saturday Night Live. She just, people are just, they destroy her. They do. They make fun of her looks. They make fun of they do all of these things. She goes into a restaurant and they tell her, you need to leave. You need to leave.
The restaurant owner explaining her decision, telling the Washington Post, quote, "I explained that the restaurant has certain standards that I feel it has to uphold, such as honesty and compassion and cooperation. I said, I'd like to ask you to leave."
And she did. By the way, she paid for what she'd already ordered. She took her family there. It was like 7 of them. She paid for what she ordered. She left quietly. She's not suing. She's not doing any of these things. They have the right to refuse service is the way they look at it. But only kind of, because if you're gay, if you're this, if you're that, whatever it is, if you refuse service, you're going to hell. It's wrong. But if you refuse service based on principles that you have in your ideology, then, it's okay. It's a bunch of crap. The leftists, here's the thing. I'm pretty open-minded, right? I've got most of my friends, I'll tell you guys this right now. Most of my friends, not conservative. Some of them, very progressive. Most of them, though, just run-of-the-mill Democrats, right? They're not idiots. They're not stupid. But most of my friends, we grew up together, and just because we don't see eye to eye with each other, as far as some things politically, doesn't mean I throw them out with the bathwater. Doesn't mean they throw me out with the bathwater. The reality is we're friends, and our friendship is based on so much more than whatever. The left they scream of tolerance. We're the most tolerant people in the history of the world. We're about inclusivity. We're about they're not. They're about groupthink, and they've become more and more about groupthink over the last decade to the point where it's embarrassing. College campuses are rife with groupthink and hatred of anybody else who doesn't believe what we believe. And that's sad. That is absolutely sad. Sarah Huckabee Sanders wasn't the first one. Kirsten Nielsen, right? DHS. This is all her fault. Protesters confront her at a restaurant.
Sarah Nielsen, how dare you spend your evening here eating dinner as you're complicit in the separation and deportation of over 10,000 10,000 children separated from
Lies.
their parents.
Lies. By the way, that is pulling a number out of your ass that is spectacular. 10,000 now. It's 10. It was like 2,200 last week. Then it was maybe 2,500, but not all of them were separated from their parents. Some of them came here unaccompanied. Now it's 10,000.
Join a Mexican dinner as you're deporting and imprisoning tens of thousands of people who come here seeking asylum in the United States. We call on you to end family separation and abolish ICE. Abolish ICE!
So that is the left's idea of inclusivity. Let's just go out and we'll destroy people as best that we can in public. Maxine Waters is screaming for it. Here's a perfect example. Somebody just texted me and says, Trump wants to eliminate due process, but you want to talk Maxine Waters? Yeah, due process. Trump's idea of eliminating due process is you want to go home, you sign a piece of paper, we'll get, you take your kids. I think we should have due process. I don't think we should eliminate it. I think we should go through the entire thing. Right? But I also think we should eliminate catch and release. How about that? Are you fine with catch and release? Is everybody fine with catch and release? Are we good with that? I'm not good with that anymore. I think it's ridiculous. I absolutely do. But when I look at this entire situation here, it's not just immigration. It is all things. The left screams about inclusivity. I look at the right. I know they're horrible bigots out there. I know there are people out there that are so single-minded in their thought belief they don't want to hear anything because I get attacked by them too. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them attacking me. I'm fine. I want to challenge your belief. I want you to challenge mine. I want us to be able to talk about things. But just because we don't believe in one subject doesn't mean, hey, you know what? I'm done with you. But that's the way this world has gotten on both sides. But the left screams of, you know what? We're inclusive. We're about bringing together the world in a way that we want, though. Because if we don't believe in the same thing we do, I don't want you to be on my, we can't even talk. It's ridiculous. It is. Everybody's here for asylum. By the way, that's the biggest bunch of crock, and we're going to touch on that later. Right? Asylum is being used as a way to say, I want to come here for a better life for myself because I, once again, cannot survive in my home country. And I'm going to use this. There are people that are really genuinely running for their lives, but not everybody. And by the way, if you come through the port of entrance, let's go over this again. If you come through a port of entrance, right? You come through a port of entrance, asylum, you'll have a chance at that. If you get caught on the border, trying to sneak in, your chances of you running from asylum and the opportunity there is slim to none. Slim to none. So let's talk about due process. Let's talk about all of those things. I'm totally fine with that. But what I'm not fine with is you screaming, you're as inclusive as anybody. I hear this all the time. One of my good friends is very progressive. But he'll readily admit he's a bit of a hypocrite. He's fine with open borders. But he doesn't want them to live near them. A lot of people are that way. They scream, I'm all about this, but if that could not happen here, that'd be fantastic. Right? I'm fine with all of this stuff, but if there's any way that we could make sure that it's nowhere near me when it happens, that's great. That's great. If we can do that, that'd be super. And that's the frustration I have. I'm fine with talking about stuff. I think we should. I think we should debate. Well, I think we should debate across the board when it comes to immigration. 100%. Let's be real. There's a certain amount of illegal immigration that's always going to happen. We should make legal immigration easier, especially temporary legal immigration. I got no problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is the BS of let's just have the wall and that's going to solve everything, and the BS of let's just have no wall and allow everybody to come here and that's going to solve everything. That's not. Comprehensive, honest reform is needed. Neither side wants to go about doing it. And now the problem is both sides for years have gotten away with allowing this to happen because politically it was great for them. It was great for their pocketbooks. It was great for their donors. It was great for their base. The problem is now is the people are forcing them to actually figure something out. They don't want this. The left is using this all day long. The right is going to start to use it as well, because the more there's situations like Christian Nielsen happening and Sarah Huckabee Sanders they're going to dig in deeper and deeper. And they're going to raise money off of it, and it's ridiculous. I'm frustrated because we're not getting anything done in a real way. I said last week I was not a fan of what Trump did. At all. I was not a fan of that. But I've also said I'm not a fan of catch and release, because I think that's the worst thing that you can do. At that point in time, why do we even have a border? Honestly, if the catch and release is your goal, why even have a border? Can anybody answer me that? Anybody out there? People on the left or right? Why have something if we're not going to enforce any of this? I'm just curious. Nobody wants to talk about it in a real way. But instead, we demonize each other. We fight with one another. We go out there and embarrass each other. One side screams, we need this, this, and this. The other side screams, it's about inclusivity. But we don't think you're a good person because your ideology doesn't fit with my ideology. And that's all I care about. And I live my life through feelings and not facts. Blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of crap. It's not getting us anywhere. That's for damn sure. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with us. Want to hear from you. Poll question today is, are you in favor or against a wall? I'm curious. Are you in favor or against it? New CBS poll says 51% of people out there are in favor with it, regardless of their political affiliation. Take the poll at Chad Benson Show on the Facebook page. My Pillow. No, it's My Pillow, but you can have a My Pillow too. If you listen to the show, you know I've had trouble sleeping. It's been issues with me in the past. Same thing. Unfortunately, I passed it along to Jack. He has troubles as well. And one of the things I always had huge trouble with is the pillow. I'd have like 3 pillows, and I have one pillow. I'd tear them apart. Well, guess what? I have a My Pillow. And I was kind of skeptical at first. I was like, okay, sure, whatever. And they sent me one. They sent my son one, and it has made all the difference in the world with the way that I sleep. And I sleep like a log now. It is amazing. It is incredible. It really, really is. Order your My Pillow today. This is what you're going to get, right? Use my promo code Benson. Premium offer. 2 premium pillows, 1 low price, plus free shipping. That's 2 premium pillows. Fit to your sleep, right? So it's fit right to your sleep pattern. 1 great low price, free shipping. My Pillow is 100% machine washable and dryable. Made in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. And the free shipping is going on right now. Limited time. Get yours now. It's incredible. It really is. And it's changed the way I sleep. And yes, I take it with me everywhere I go. I can. I do. This weekend I'll be traveling to see Jack. And yeah, Jack has his and I have mine. We take it to our hotel. It's great. Call today, 800-983-4975, or go to mypillow.com. Use my promo code Benson. Stop tossing. Stop turning. Go to mypillow.com. Use my promo code Benson. Call 800-983-4975 or visit mypillow.com. Use my promo code Benson. You will not be disappointed. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Take one giant step to the left.
Ever have anyone embarrass you like this?
One giant step to the right.
That's all that separates you from everything else that came from slime.
You are now in the alt middle, where it's just right. Call if you get weird. This is the Chad Benson Show.
With home prices rising and interest rates rising, now is a very good time to talk to your lender, see how much you can qualify for, and lock in a payment before interest rates climb even higher.
Yeah, rates are going to go up. We've talked about that before. Rates are going to climb because they're trying to do that balancing act of inflation. Home prices are through the roof. Doesn't matter, it's all relative to where you are, but by and large, home prices have climbed. In California, places like San Francisco, I think the median home price is $939,000. And in other places across the country, it's at a high level. And the struggle is, what if you're a first-time home buyer? That's the real struggle right now.
The first-time buyer is struggling, especially lower wage income earners. People who have not experienced wage growth are really struggling to buy a home today, and that's a concern.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, and I understand that, the thing is that's a concern anyways, right? Like, even if prices were low, if you're a low-wage earner and you're a first-time home buyer, you're going to struggle. to own a house. And the problem was we got ourselves in this massive mess in 2007 because of what? Anyone? Because we gave everybody they wanted their own home. And in many instances, not only did we give them their own home, we gave them their own home and we threw money in on top of it. And they knew they couldn't afford a house. Now, if you're older, you got some cash, life is good right now. Opportunities to purchase homes because you've maybe sold a home, you're downsizing, and it's a great time if you're older.
So many retirees moving to more affordable places, warmer climates, states that have no state income tax. If you're on a fixed income, that's attractive, and that may be why we saw a surge in new home sales in the South.
Yeah. Oh, why? Well, no, state income tax is great. It's a wonderful thing, isn't it? No. But, I mean, I hear from you guys at least, I don't know, every day how you can't wait to get out of a place like California, right? You want to move to Texas. You want to move to Florida. You want to move to some place where it's not only affordable to live, but you can, that state income tax is getting rid of that is tremendous. It is absolutely tremendous. It's not like these other states, not like Texas. People always say, oh, California, man. It's just like, look at all the surplus and this, that, and the other. Yeah, it's got a surplus. But also, if you look at the unfunded liabilities, a lot of the other things that are there, it's massive. And we forget not just taxes, but fee on fee on fee. They can call it what they want, but they're always looking for another way to get money from you. Texas is second behind California as far as, I think it's the 8th or 9th largest economy in the world. It's doing just fine. They have low taxes, right? They're not trying to fee the death out of their residents. So it's interesting to see what happens. But if you're a home buyer right now, yeah, be smart. Get into this. This is a situation here because remember, the Fed, the entire time the Fed is doing this, it's not only numbers, it's also a feeling thing. They're massaging it. They want to try to fight off inflation, but they know that they're going to have to raise rates. And don't be surprised if they don't raise rates a couple times before the end of the year, which is going to impact a lot of things, right? The economy's going like gangbusters. They're trying to fight off inflation. And when doing so, you're going to have to raise some rates. And in raising those rates, it's going to affect things like your payment, not only for your home potentially, but your car payment, the amount of money you borrow off your credit card, things of that nature. That is going to have an impact. So think about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with us. Talking about immigration today, the wall. Are you for it or against it? I want to hear from you. Are you for it or against it? You can text the program 323-538-2423. Tweet at us at Chad Benson Show. Let's talk a little bit about health care and immigration. I do want to talk about both those things. I want to talk about immigration in a way that's not being talked about, because right now it's all about feelings and it's all about screaming and yelling and it's all about people digging in ways that are stupid. Let's talk about the reality of immigration, illegal and legal immigration. And let's talk about health care, what some doctors are doing right now that I suggest you look into. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
As the immigration debate has been taken over by irrational fears and craziness on both sides of the aisle, the reality is we got issues out there that we need to address. Right? We do. We have issues out there. Senator Langford, a Republican of Oklahoma, talked about it this weekend on Meet the Press and talked about what I talked a bit about last week is the reality. We've tried all kinds of things, and we want to blame Trump for this mess, and he created the craziness that's going on at the border right now and the lunacy. I get that, right? As far as what's happening at this moment. He didn't create the entire mess. That happened long before he got here, long before Trump, even thought about running for president, long before even Obama was president. This nightmare was created by other presidents and administrations and Congress people who chose to ignore it because it was better for them, their donors, their base. We've talked about this. Langford talked about it this weekend, and it's real here. This is a real discussion. This isn't feelings. This is about facts and how we have to deal with this kind of issue.
Have we misnamed this? Is this more of a refugee crisis than an immigration crisis, considering this is a specific region of the world where this is emanating from?
Yeah, this has been a long-term issue. I'm not sure I'd call it a refugee crisis, but it's been destabilizing for a long time. We started 3 years ago investing about $650 million into El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala to help provide some economic activity for them. They help provide some stabilizing force in their government and to be able to provide them a reason to be able to stay.
Wow, we're investing money in their country. Now, we're investing money. We're not advocating for a regime change. We're not doing that. We're not trying to build we're no longer nation building. What have we got out of that? Nothing. Nothing really. Where's the money? What's happening?
Hey, I've been in the region multiple times to be able to oversee how that money is being spent, but this is a long-term issue. You go back to 2013, right. There were about 15,000 families that were coming illegally into the United States as a family unit. Now we're up to 89,000 families a year that are coming at the United States as a family unit. That's huge. That's massive. I mean, think about that for a second. From 15,000 as a family unit to almost 90,000. Those numbers are huge. I don't think it's a refugee issue. All right. This isn't some country in Africa that civil war is going on and you've got, slaughtering of innocent people, villages being razed and you've got ethnic cleansing going on. It's not like that. This isn't Syria or anything. These are people that are fleeing and they're, going out and they're looking for opportunities. Their issue is, for all intents and purposes, they're using asylum as a reason they're coming here. But the reality is the threat in their life is not having enough to eat and having no economic opportunity to live a good life. But the vast majority of these individuals are coming for economic reasons. That's why they're coming from Central America. They're not fleeing to Costa Rica or Belize or Ecuador, who also have great asylum laws. They're coming to the United States because they want to have the economic opportunities, not just asylum. They're trying to be able to come for economic gains, and I don't blame them for that.
Oh, well, wait a minute here. You mean they could have gone elsewhere? Yeah, they're looking for safety, if that's what it's about. But it's quote-unquote safety with a net. They want the opportunity to have a good life. And like he said, and I've said it over and over again, I do the same thing, and I don't blame them for trying that, but I also realize that we're a nation. We're a nation of laws. I think we should make it easier for people to come here on a temporary basis and work. I've got no problem with that. I don't have any problem with that. But I also think that we've got to start doing something real that has a long-term solution to the problem that we have. And right now, you see these kids, you see all this stuff, it becomes about what? It becomes about feelings, and those feelings override, and people start screaming and yelling at each other, and then we start to lose our mind, and we're not actually dealing with the problem. Instead, we're creating more chaos amongst ourselves. And here's a perfect example of the problem. Is like, we don't know where any of these kids are. We have no idea where any of these kids are. We don't even know, who their parents are. I said last week, somebody, they came out and said, they don't even know. These kids they've got no identification, that we have no real understanding of who their parents are. We don't even know where they are. And I'm like, well, if we don't know where they are, did they ever even exist? Well, they're missing. Are they missing? Is that real? Do we know where they are? Do we? Do we have an understanding of any of this? Or is they just separated? We took them and that was that.
These are not political appointees. These are career folks that know where every child is to be able to connect them to their parent or the relative that came. Many of these children that came, we don't know if they're with a parent or not. And so trying to be able to make sure that we're connecting the dots on this. As you know, about of the 12,000 or so children that are out there total, 10,000 of those are unaccompanied minors that came with no parent at all. And then you've got another 2,000 that are out there that came with a family member of some type. They're all in HHS custody, and they're trying to be able to reconnect them now.
And by the way, those 10,000 didn't just come in the last month or two. That has been years in the making, and I think we realize that.
And we see this surge over and over again. And how about this? We saw Sarah Huckabee Sanders and we saw Kirstjen Nielsen and all these people getting shouted down and they can't go to restaurants and people are throwing them out. But what about the people that are just the people working at the border, the people working in these facilities, the people who are going about doing their job, right? What about those people? Because I've seen people, they're coming after ICE people as if they are the Gestapo. Right, and that's what they're being called, the Gestapo. These people are, it's the Death's Head, it's the Einsatzgruppen, and come on, enough with that, enough.
On average, every day, DHS stops or interdicts 10 people that are on the terror watch list trying to come into the country. And so I have a real concern that we're demonizing law enforcement folks that really are trying to be able to do their job because there are very real threats.
Yeah. They're doing their job. And by the way, for those of you out there on the left who want to demonize these people, it only takes one or two to get through to do something horrible where they bomb Los Angeles or New York City or some other place and they kill a bunch of people. Whatever happens, something similar to that. When the people that are moderates decide they've had enough and they want the wall built, and all of a sudden your feelings are completely overridden because people have had enough. It only takes one. It only takes one to find out that they came through the border that way. Could you imagine that? Picture this for a second. Somebody gets into Mexico, gets into El Salvador, one of these places, right? They travel through there. They get here. And they cause hell. They kill God knows how many. 1,000, 500, whatever it is. And we find out and we trace it back through that they came through the border. How do you think people are going to react to that? People that are moderates that aren't quite sure are going to be like, not only do we need to build a wall, we need to build a moat. We need to have sharks with laser beam eyes, maybe alligators with machine guns on top of that. And everybody's going to be looked at in a much different way. So think about that for a second. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Remember healthcare was a big deal? Do you guys remember that? Like healthcare, like, we're going to fix Obamacare, blah, 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 blah. One thing that I have always done is I look for alternative ways. And I think that there's something going on there, movement out there, concierge medicine, whatever you want to call it, that's happening. And that's what I do. I find it to be much better. I'm in pretty good health. People around me in good health, right? Like that's where I think you should go with it anymore because it works out in a much better way. And doctors are starting to move in that direction where they're saying, you know what? We're done with insurance.
Direct primary care. It's a trend that could end up revolutionizing the industry. Now, here's what it means. It's a growing number of doctors who don't accept insurance. Instead, they just charge a monthly membership fee. Now, this is a lot of the reason why these doctors are doing this is because of the sky-high deductibles that we have been seeing. They're expected to climb once again next year, Jen. Do you think that this maybe could be a more affordable option to healthcare?
Yeah. So what I do is I pay less than $100 a month for my membership. I'm a member. I go in, I pay to see my doctor. I get as much or as little time as I need from them. Prescriptions, anything is easy, right? Simple and easy, right? They have family memberships. They have single memberships, whatever it is. And then let's just say I need to have an x-ray. I pay their cost plus 10%. So, and that's for their administrative costs, people running and their administrative cost is very simple. It's the people inside of the office. The guys and gals that are working behind the desk, that are seeing you first, the nurses, all those kinds. So that's all I'm paying. Right? That's it. It's pretty simplistic. And I'm telling you, and I've said this all along, if I was a big company, right? So let's just say I'm a big company, and like many companies are looking at, why would I even want to have insurance when I would be better off just employing doctors to work for my company? God, wouldn't that be easier? Guess what? It's happening.
Morgan, Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway are getting underway here. They just named a new CEO earlier this week. Do you think that maybe this strategy could be something they implement for their new initiative?
Yeah, I think it is. And one of the reasons why is they want to cut out the middleman. One of the biggest issues we've seen in healthcare is the rising costs of drugs. And so you've had the drug manufacturers place the blame on the pharmacy benefit manufacturers, who are placing the blame on the drug manufacturers.
Yeah. And that what it is it's the middleman who negotiates everything. They negotiate this, they negotiate that, they negotiate this. Everybody's getting a piece of the pie, so you got to make the pie bigger because there's only so much of this pie, right? It was a slice of pie, so we had to make the pie bigger so everybody could have their own slice of pie, and that's passed on to us. And if you've never thought about concierge medicine, you should take a look and find out how cheap it is. And how easy, because how many times you go to the doctor? How many times you do any of these things? It's a great way. And I love the fact that, you know what? My doctor will they'll do house calls. They'll do house calls if needed.
The problem that's happening in corporate America is the rising insurance cost of their employees. And that's a big issue as we're seeing the aging population here in the United States starting to take its toll on corporate America and the benefits that they give. We're seeing rising age of workers.
Yeah. It's going to be more and more and more and more expensive as it goes. And the best thing to do is to find an alternative. And there's ways of going about doing this. We're trying to do the same. We're trying to change the way that things are being done as if that's going to change the outcome. Well, we'll say we'll get rid of it's only a finite amount that you can do with insurance. So moving a piece here, moving a piece there, in the overall scheme of things, it's not going to sort it out. That's why you've got to go completely outside of the box and sort it out. And I think this is a way that's going to happen. And I'm telling you guys, it's a smart way of doing this because you cut out the fat, and the fat is where everybody makes their money.
And we're seeing primary care isn't really that expensive, but the doctors aren't enjoying the insurance costs that are tempered with it, and the employers aren't enjoying the high cost of it. So we'll see how this takes hold. I think it's a good wave going forward where we're cutting out the middleman here.
Cut out the middleman. Find out what you get. Cheaper costs, better access. And remember, just because you have health care, if you will, an insurance plan, doesn't mean you have great access to your provider. You just have a card. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet along with us. How do you feel about the wall? Are you for it or against it? Text the program, 323-538-2423. We've got your useless fact of the day straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Weighed down by Washington red tape?
You can't lift that up?
No! Let Chad do the heavy lifting for you.
That looks like it's very heavy.
The Chad Benson Show.
Signs posted along some beaches warning about shark sighting. Just last month, a 10-year-old boy bitten swimming in waist-deep water in South Carolina.
It was a total shock that I got bit by a shark.
Experts say shark attacks are rare, but warnings should be taken seriously.
Why is it a shock when people get bit by sharks? I'm curious. You're in the ocean. Now, the reality is what, 1 in, I think it's 3.7 million swimmers or something like that will be attacked by a shark or bit by a shark. That's, those odds are pretty amazing, right? But I always find it, I was totally shocked. If you were in the ocean and you got attacked by a bear, I'd be like, wow, I didn't see that coming, right? Look, if you're on land, right? You're camping and all of a sudden you're like, dude, did you hear I got bit by a shark? I was camping. You're like, what? Yeah, I was camping. I'm up, 5,000 feet in the air, just relaxing, enjoying ourselves. We're hanging out. I'm walking on a trail. Boom, a shark bit me. That to me is shocking. But if you're in the ocean and you get bit by a shark, that is not shocking. That, I expect that's where a shark would probably bite you. Every once in a while, a bull shark, for those of you who don't know, bull shark is a shark that is probably the most ferocious of all sharks. Great whites are the baddest. We all know that. Tiger sharks are right behind him, but a bull shark is the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst, and very aggressive. If you're swimming in a river somewhere and it gets out into the ocean and vice versa, there's a chance you may get bit somewhere, including
I think a bull shark has been found 2,000 miles up the Amazon River and 1,500 miles up the Mississippi. Illinois, they found a bull shark there because it can swim in both fresh. That wouldn't, still. But the ocean, I'm surprised, man. I was bit by a shark. As we all know, people, nature will mess you up. Just remember them. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with us. We have a poll question up today. And, this whole debate about immigration, and it should be a conversation, and we should be working towards actually trying to sort this out. But neither side has the stomach to go through with it because the reality is they don't really want to go through it. They don't really want to sort it out because politically it does nothing to solve their problem. And by that, I mean politically it's better that it continues to move on. But how do you feel about the wall? New CBS poll says, hey, the wall's a good thing. 51% of people want a wall built. That to me is, and that's regardless of political affiliations, Republicans as Democrats. How do you feel about that? 51% say, you know what? We'd like to see a wall. Even if it doesn't do anything, we'd like to see what it could do. I don't think it's going to do much. I think if you are willing to make that dangerous trek to get to the United States of America, the reality is that a wall is not going to stop you. And if you think it's going to stop the flow of drugs, a good portion of drugs that are coming here nowadays are being mailed here. So think about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. 75% of you say, yeah, you know what? I'd like to see a wall built. I'd like to see it built. You can take the poll at Chad Benson Show. You can also take it on the Facebook page. Do you guys remember this song as your useless fact of the day?
And I wrote the very first song.
Did you, Barry?
I put the words and the melody.
Oh, God. It's an awful song. Actually, Barry, you didn't write this song. That's the funny thing about this. No, Barry Manilow did not write I Write the Songs. Bruce Johnston, who is a member of the Beach Boys, took over for Glenn Campbell, actually wrote this song. 25 million copies of this song has been sold worldwide, recorded over 200 times. Even old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra, did a cover of this. But no, Barry Manilow did not write I Write the Songs. Back here to do it again tomorrow. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
But talking about it, legacy that Trump may have that will trump all of the other things that potentially may come. A second nominee. He's going to get it. Justice Kennedy is retiring, and that second nominee will set a path potentially for Trump that will last decades. That will be his legacy, even if he does nothing else. Even if he does nothing else. The actual legacy of the day-to-day dealings in politics, in law, that will have a lasting effect. All the other stuff that we have seen, they're going to always have him in the history books because of the way he rose to power in a way that was completely different than any other president. The craziness around him, it will always be there. For the average person, that will be his legacy. But for politics and for a lasting effect, when scholars look back on his presidency, the second nominee will be his biggest legacy. Very interesting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Did the Democratic Party have a massive change last night? A change that is reverberating potentially through the party in a way unseen by us and the average person. Some people say yes,
because Joe Crowley, an establishment in New York, an establishment Democrat, was thumped by a 28-year-old Latina last night who is a Bernie supporter and who is trying to be, and many people think will shape the face of the Democrats moving forward.
There was a shocking defeat for the Democratic establishment in a Democratic primary in New York City. You saw 28-year-old self-declared Democratic socialist named Alexandria Casio-Cortez vanquish one of the most powerful Democrats in Congress, Joe Crowley. Crowley is somebody who had been considered a possible next Speaker of the House. He lost a double-digit loss to Casio-Cortez.
Yeah. Think about this for a second. This is a Bernie supporter, somebody who is not even described as a Democrat. She's a socialist first, Democrat second. She is everything that conservatives, even some Democrats and Republicans, freak out about. And she did it in a very Democrat stronghold, a person who is an incumbent, a person who many people thought, hey, you're taking over for Pelosi. That's how powerful he was. And now he's asked out. Now, this is her name's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And she is, again, of the Bernie blueprint.
I wasn't born to a wealthy or powerful family. Mother from Puerto Rico, dad from the South Bronx. I was born in a place where your zip code determines your destiny. My name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm an educator, an organizer, a working-class New Yorker.
So she's an educator, she's an organizer, and those things. She's an activist is really what she is. She is an activist big time, first and foremost. And here's the thing. If you're also somebody who is a lobbyist, this isn't a good thing for you. You get your power by being able to wield the dollar bills, and she's completely against the wielding of the dollar bills. You can't bring that over here. She doesn't want any part of that. She doesn't want to be part of, quote unquote, the establishment. She wants to be the anti-establishment. For a lot of people out there, that's not a bad thing. Now, the left-leaning and some of the craziness she talks about, that should scare a lot of people. But getting away from the establishment, I've never had a problem because I'm not a huge fan of the establishment, especially when they become so established. They're more of the furniture than the actual people that they were supposed to be.
This race is about people versus money. We've got people, they've got money. It's time we acknowledge that not all Democrats are the same. What the Bronx and Queens needs is Medicare for all, tuition-free public college, a federal jobs guarantee, and criminal justice reform. We can do it now. It doesn't take 100 years to do this. It takes political courage.
And it takes money, by the way, just to let you know. If you're going to give everybody a job, that takes money. If you're going to give everybody free health care, that takes money. You think your health care is expensive now, wait till it's free. All of those things take money. So you want a federal jobs guarantee. That sounds very Bernie-esque, right? Health care for all. See where we're going with this? Now, let's just say she's going to win. She's going to get in there. It's not going to be a problem. What about Trump?
I would support impeachment. I think that we have the grounds to do it. When people break the law, potentially break the law, that we have to hold everyone accountable and that no person is above that law.
Okay, that sounds fine. So you want to impeach Trump, which is not a shocker. And by the way, that's like she corrected herself when she said people broke the law, potentially broke the law. Because a lot of people still want him impeached just because he's a bad person, but you don't get to impeach the people you don't like. There's got to be a reason for it. Now, here's some more in this day and age of the controversy that she is creating out there, which is ICE. Remember ICE, Remember that? Remember ICE? You guys know what ICE is, right? The whole customs thing. Remember that, right? Immigration, customs. Remember that?
ICE was established in 2003, right at the same time as the Patriot Act, the Iraq War, And we look back at a lot of that time and legislation as a mistake now. And I think that ICE is right there as a part of it. It has extrajudicial nature is baked in to the structure of the agency. And we are committing human rights abuses at this border and separating children from their families. And that, is part of the structure of the agency. We can replace it, and we can replace it with a humane agency that is directed towards safe passage.
Okay, so she wants open borders, essentially. She wants open borders. The safe passage. She's not talking about actually enforcing the laws. Like, hey, we've got a border here. We should have a border. She's talking about a safe passage, meaning you could just come here. And for, a lot of it's hyperbole, right? All the Democrats all want open borders. No, most the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, the crazy, they want more voters, but they don't want free open borders. I've talked to a lot of Democrats that want, they want common sense reform that they believe is going to work, but they realize that some's going to get through. And so do the Republicans. Remember, it's all a game. What you hear on TV isn't the reality of it all. But there are a lot of people out there, and a growing number of them, particularly millennials. Remember this, the largest voting bloc is millennials. Doesn't mean they vote, but they're coming. They're coming big time. And they've been in schools for the last umpteen years, and they've gone on to colleges, and colleges are a liberal bastion, and the conservative ideas have been squashed down. And there is a good portion of them that have the same belief. But there's a difference between letting people come here on a whim because they want to and actually having good comprehensive reform. She's more for let's just have open borders. That's what we should have.
ICE was established in 2003, right at the same time as the Patriot Act.
So ICE isn't that old. Think about that. ICE is not old. It's 2003. It's not old. And as producer Phil and I were talking about, what do? We go back to INS because we got to have something, right? We can't just have nothing. That's just it. You got to have something. Now, in saying all of this, it is one area. We've seen that there have been other liberal people. California is a perfect example of somebody who they took on the establishment, Dianne Feinstein, but somebody who was a well-known Democrat and got their asses handed to them because there's a lot of Democrats out there who are sensible, who are like, well, wait a minute here. I mean, I may believe in pro-choice, or I may be pro-union, or I may be a few of these other things, but I'm not insane. I don't want to just change who we are as a country. We just see things in a different way. So this is, I don't know if she represents the future as of today, but I think the future's a lot closer for these kind of battles that are going to happen, and they're going to take on their own first before they come for the Republicans. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. And again, I've talked about it. I continue to talk about it. The legacy of presidents is defined in so many ways. And for some presidents, they have opportunities to do different things, whether it's through the economy, taking on the Cold War as Reagan did, so many different things that they have a legacy for. Obama, yes, his legacy is, he's the first African-American president, but also Obamacare, and that's been kind of dismantled and is continuing to be dismantled along the way. Trump's legacy is of chaos at times, so far of a good economy, the potential to sort something out with North Korea, which none of the other presidents have had a chance to do or even a want to do. Also taxes, that could be it. But his big lasting legacy is going to be having a chance to put a second judge on the court. And I'm telling you guys right now, that's a legacy that will be felt for a very long time. A very, very, very long time. And when you see the court cases over the last 2 days, 5-4, 5-4, imagine having a second one on there. You're looking more at 6-3. And that is massive. And if you're conservative, and a lot of you are texting in, you're over the moon. You're absolutely over the moon. And if you're a Democrat, you're terrified at this moment in time because you're seeing that lead in the court, and we see how vital courts are nowadays in the country that we live in, how vital that is, especially the Supreme Court, because you can pick and choose your federal district courts. You can pick and choose your judges and where you want to have hearings, but eventually it's getting to the top and having a 6-3 margin. Conservatives' dream. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So, speaking of the future, investing, how you diversify yourself says a lot about what you want out of your investment portfolio. I'm telling everybody, take a look at the future of investment. Cryptocurrencies are massive. But what are they? How do they work? A lot of people have questions. There's a course out there. Tiki Tawari from the Palm Beach Letter, former Wall Street hedge fund guy, put together a course. It's amazing. You will love it. You can learn everything you need to know top to bottom how these cryptocurrencies work. What are they? Where do you buy them? How do you use them? Do you have to farm them out? There's so many questions people have. What's a blockchain? You're going to learn it all. Simple and easy. Check it out for yourself. Worst case scenario is you're going to learn something. Best case scenario is you're going to learn something, you're going to diversify, and you're going to make some money. Check it out for yourself. AmazingCryptoClass.com. It's AmazingCryptoClass.com. AmazingCryptoClass.com. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. You can tweet us. You can also text the program, 323-538-2423. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
To trade your social media addiction in for a healthier vice. No 12-step program needed for this habit.
I like it.
The Chad Benson Show.
Justice Anthony Kennedy announced his retirement from the Supreme Court effective July 31st. The announcement came on the final day of the term, and after Kennedy has served 30 years on the Supreme Court bench. Kennedy said he had a deep desire to spend more time with his family. He was appointed by President Reagan, and Kennedy's retirement gives President Trump a second vacancy to fill.
And you heard 30 years. They don't die right away. Like a lot of it's not one of these things where, you're not appointing them when they're 70. You're appointing them a lot of times in their early 50s, late 40s. So you potentially have 25, 30 years. You see how that shapes the court? And with the court's decisions all too often now being interpreted in a conservative and progressive way, it's all about the interpretation. And if you get it right, the legacy that you put out there as a president is lasting, is so lasting. And that's what Trump is going to have. He's going to have a chance to solidify the court in a way that is, And at this point in time, if you're Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who's also hinted at a time, a lot of people thought she would go first, and you see the court going in this direction, and you say to yourself, I don't know if I can hang on. Especially if the Republicans hold serve come November, does she want to do this longer? It's a really interesting question, because potentially you could be looking at this time next year having a third pick, and if the Republicans are still in power, wow, talk about shaping decades and decades. And with the importance of the court, because how we look at the court, how we know that everything is going to the court, all of our big issues now aren't solved at the ballot box, and they're sure in the hell not solved by politicians, and they're never solved by us because, well, what do we solve? Not a lot. So what happens? They end up at the court level. And as they work their way through district courts and they finally get up to the Supreme Court, there is nowhere else to go. After how many cases, you hear all this stuff about this or that, and it finally, so-and-so, they went against Trump, and it gets there to the Supreme Court, and then it goes for Trump, and then everybody looks around and like, what do we do now? Well, there is no more now. Now, whatever Trump said on that issue is what it is. And if it goes against Trump, it's like whatever, Trump can't change it. So that's when you got to look to the Congress to actually do something if they're going to do anything. And we all know that's not happening. That's not why they're there. They're there for the snacks. Speaking of snacks, I find this to be hilarious. So there is a new study out, and doctors around the globe are saying, okay, obesity rates are on the rise. And one of the big reasons they're on the rise, this is funny, is because of body positivity. Meaning people are fine with the way they look. They love who they are, which you should. right? But it doesn't mean you shouldn't strive to get better. It doesn't mean you shouldn't strive to get healthier. And that we're seeing more and more models that are chunkier, if you will, thicker, whatever you want to. They're not the quote-unquote size 0, size 2 models that everybody says, oh, that's an unrealistic expectation. We want real models, so they're putting them up. And what they're saying is, well, guess what? The body positivity movement has made it so people are okay being overweight. And they're not trying anymore because they're fine. They love themselves. And that's hilarious. So being positive has had an effect that they didn't think it was going to have. But you should always strive to be better. I do, right? If I can sit down and go, I don't need French fries and sacrifice, then we can all do that. Or I'll say, I'll have French fries, but I don't need the burger. But every once in a while, it's okay to have both. It's all about a balance, kids. It's all about a balance, a healthy balance. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
The Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
When I was a child, which was long ago, but I have a child, I was a latchkey kid. For those of you out there who are unfamiliar with it, latchkey kid, basically, I had a key pinned to my shirt or my jacket so I could get back in my home. Yes, I was young, a whopping 5 years old, USA America style. That was fine back in the day. But those days have changed. Now we live in a world where latchkey kids are unheard of. And if you are a latchkey kid, there is a good chance that your parents are going to go to jail at some point in time because CPS is going to take them away for you being some sort of free-range child, right? Which is ridiculous. Well, New York City has opened up a playground for kids whose parents aren't allowed to be at the playground. What is this playground? It's a dangerous one, too. Listen to this.
I think the yard sounds like nowhere else.
You sign your rights away, and they go inside and play with hammers, nails, and saws.
The yard is a children's wonderland. 50,000 square foot of pure joy. It's New York City's only adventure playground. It's a junkyard heaven with loose parts and all kinds of materials for kids to play and build and create and also to destroy.
Okay, so it's a playground, but see, the thing is, what she's not telling you is it's a dangerous playground because there's saws and there's hammers and there's all kinds of stuff. There are dangerous things that could happen to children on the playground. Oh, my Lord. What? Do you remember when you were a kid, the stuff that you used to get into? Do you ever drive by now, based on the world we live in, you catch yourself, you see a kid climbing a tree, and you're thinking, oh, my God, that kid could fall. And you're thinking, wait a minute here. I used to climb trees way bigger than that. I used to do all kinds of things. I used to do all kinds of stuff that you just couldn't do anymore. And the reality is that we have to talk about something like this as if this is some sort of new thing. We're allowing kids to do stuff like build something on their own without supervision with hammers and nails and whatnot. What if Jimmy eats it? Well, then Jimmy's stupid. Jimmy shouldn't eat a nail unless he's trying to get into one of those freak shows that you see on A&E. Well, what if he let the what ifs go, right? Like when I was a kid growing up, I always knew probably going to break something. If not some sort of thing, probably going to break myself at some point in time. And my parents knew that. And so did my friends' parents knew that. Their kids were going to do that. All of us knew that. And then we got to this point where we had these overeducated, terrified of everything people who decided to run the world where going across the street by yourself means that your parents were in some way, shape, or form bad parents and that you had to be, what? Taken away from them. Because they don't understand that once you come out of the womb, you should be connected to the womb. Wrong. And part of that is social media. Social media has made it ridiculous. We think that on every corner there's a dude in a van handing out candies or puppy dogs and snatching children. The reality is that doesn't happen. Most of the kids taken, like a majority, 90+% of the children that disappear or taken or abused are done by what? People they know. Maybe you should tell them, stranger's not danger. Stranger is safety, based on all the stuff we know. But the fact that we have this kind of thing where we have to do a special and the fact that it's a playground shows you how insane and how far the pendulum swung in a different direction.
There was a lot less supervision then. You're out playing with whatever was hanging around.
Play today for so many children looks really different from that. There are fewer places in the city for kids to play. There are few opportunities for them to play unsupervised without adults telling them how to do it.
Yeah, because you can't. Not because I think a lot of parents don't want to. And also we forget about the peer pressure of parents. The peer pressure because of social media, not just because everybody's terrified about something, but also that you're worried that you're going to get judged because you let your kid ride his bike down the street by himself. Right? Oh, my God, what are you doing? There's always those do-gooders. I hate those people. You know, your kid's outside without a helmet on riding a bike. I'm like, yep, I know. That was my little brothers. My little brothers are like that. My little brothers, because my mom still parents very 70s style without the smoking and the drinking, but very 70s style still. She lets them go out bike and, outside and they ride their bikes. They bounce on trampolines. My mother's built. So here's my mom buys, which is every modern day parent's terrifying nightmare, is my little brother's dream. So she buys them this giant, huge, wooden castle that's out back, right? This play castle that's amazing with a rock climbing wall. And on the other side, she's got them a giant trampoline. And so what have they done? The kids, it wasn't enough. They turned it into a Ninja Warrior because that's what they want to do. They want to be a Ninja Warrior. So they turn it into a Ninja Warrior thing, but that's not even enough. So they have these soft pellet guns that it's part of it. It's like they're training for Spetsnaz or one of the other Ranger Navy SEAL kind of thing. It's hilarious. That was how we parented back in the day. That's how mom and dads parented. Mom and dads were like, hey, we're gonna have a play date. She's like, hey, go down to so and so's house, see if you can stay the night. I got something to do tomorrow. And then you may not hear that would be us. Like parents would call us. Is my kid over at your house? Oh yeah, he's here. Okay, cool. Well, if you're bored with him, send him home. No, he wants to stay the night. Okay, well then that's cool. I'll see him tomorrow. That was parenting back in the day. Now it's like I'm going to pencil you in for a play date. Yeah. Well, what are they going to do at the play date? That's the other thing. What are they going to do at the play date? What do you mean? What are they going to do? They're going to play. What are they going to play? I don't know. We're going to give them shotguns and see who can, drink the most. What's it matter? But that's the way parenting has become. We need to get back to some. Look, I'm not saying all 70s parenting was great. I think we all know that. There was stuff missing there. But I'm also, we've gone too far the other way, where we've over-parented. And it's showing in society in many ways. You see it with millennials nowadays who can't function, who can't get them. A lot of millennials who can't get out of their own way, who don't know what to do, who struggle with conflict in any way, shape, or form. It's very interesting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. A lot of you are tweeting in. A lot of you are texting in about but Justice Kennedy stepping away and Trump now having an opportunity to have a second pick for the Supreme Court. Some of you were like, that's not real. It can't be. Yeah. And I said I said yesterday, I think on this very same program here that I host, the Chad Benson Show, that he was going to retire. I said, and I wouldn't be surprised in the next week or two that he announced it. In less than 24 hours, he said he's out. And I get that. He's old. And he's going to spend more time with his family, as we all know. And as producer Phil, hike across the Appalachians. Oh, he'll never live that down. But who's next?
Like, could you see Ruth Bader Ginsburg? She's 85. He's 81. She's 85. And I think if Hillary would have won, she would have retired. I think she would have retired. If Hillary would have won, she would have stepped away. And I think she was holding on for that. And I don't know how much longer she's going to hold on. Not that I think she's going to die or anything anytime soon, but at 85 years old, you have to ask yourself, how much more does she want to do? How much more does she want to give? She has served this country, whether you like her politics or not, more than admirably. She's given a lot to this country. And, if you're at the point now where you're starting to see a 6-3 look on the Supreme Court, what's 7-2, 6-3? Do you know what I mean? If that's the way things are going to be interpreted, what's the difference at this point in time? And I'm telling you, do not underestimate the long-term ramifications when it comes to what Trump might be able to do if he gets a second court justice through. It's massive. It is absolutely massive. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet along with us. The Supreme Court has spoken, by the way, dealing a blow to the unions.
The Supreme Court said states and public sector unions may no longer extract so-called agency fees from non-members. The court sided with a government employee in Illinois who refused to join his union and objected to the $45 fair share fee automatically deducted from his paycheck. The Supreme Court upheld these fees in the 1970s, but now said the First Amendment is violated when money is taken from non-consenting employees for a public sector union. The unions worried they would still be obligated to collectively bargain, now, though, with fewer resources.
Yep, money. And it's what it's about. It's the resources, for those of you, I can translate, that's Latin for money. Fewer resources. I mean, and how does this affect places like California and Illinois? The strength of the unions there strengthens the Democratic Party. I think nothing's going to change too much. But what is going to change is the money coming to them, and they may not be able to get through and get certain things done in a way that they used to, but I still think they're going to be left-leaning states. I don't think any of those things are going to change. And I don't know how many people are going to say, no, I don't want to do this. That's also something else. I mean, if everybody opts out, then, whoa, that's a totally different thing. But if you only lose 3 to 5 or 10% of your membership dues, you're still going to have a decent amount of resources. But it definitely changes, I think, for certain areas. The Democratic stronghold may be challenged on this because, as we all know, union members vote Democrat. And when you can't really get the things through that you want, you turn to what? You turn to politicians and you fund a bunch of stuff. And if you don't have the money to fund them, or you can only fund them partially, they may not get that mandate to do the things that they want to do. So it'll be interesting. And the long-term ramifications, it may not be felt immediately, but I think over time they will be felt. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Somebody just texted in. This is hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious. I don't know if they want me to read it on the air, but I'm going to read it on the air because it is funny. And it was about the overprotection of kids. It says, my aunt was crazy overprotective. Now my female cousin is tattooed up, S&M stripper in San Francisco. My aunt should let us join our boy cousins at the park 2 blocks away. A little overprotective. Yeah, you get some of that. Little, you overprotect, they push away. You see that, right? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. My Pillow. No, it's My Pillow. But you too can have your own My Pillow. And they got a great deal for you right now. Premium offer, 2 pillows. Premium pillows, 1 low price, free shipping. It's amazing. I started sleeping with My Pillow just not long ago, over a month and a half ago, and it's amazing. It really is. It has changed the way I sleep. It's changed a lot of things. Changed my life. And what's changed? Jack is the same as me. He needs like 12 pillows, and now he has 1 pillow. He's getting a better night's sleep, and because of the fact that he's sleeping more, it's made everything easier. It really has. It has. And I love the fact that he's getting up. He's bouncy. There's no craziness because he's getting a good night's sleep. My Pillow is amazing. It's 100% machine and dry, washable and dryable, made here in the USA, 10-year warranty, free shipping, Offer is limited, so get yours now. Call them today. Use my code 800-983-4975, code Benson. That's 800-983-4975. Or go to mypillow.com. That's mypillow.com. Use my code Benson, BENSON, to get this amazing deal. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. CHADBENSON. We got your useless fact of the day. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
The list of conservative judges that the president-elect back in November, but back after the election put out, is the list that they will be going from to look for a replacement for Kennedy. In other words, a hard-line conservative. The people on the president's team involved in this do not believe in the tradition of you replace a moderate with a moderate. There will be an effort to replace Kennedy with somebody that would decisively sway the balance of power in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, and it is, remember, Kennedy was appointed by Reagan, but he's been a swing vote. And on social issues, he is totally, at times, sided with the left side of the court. I mean, if you would have told Reagan, I'm sure that you're going to get somebody who is going to be a moderate, more of a libertarian, rather than an uber conservative on the court. Now, the courts, I don't think at that time were as polar divided as we are as a nation right now. I don't think we didn't look at it the way we look at it now and the importance of it. But still, I think Reagan would be like, what? Are you kidding me? So, he has been vitally important to the left.
One of the few justices, with the exception perhaps of Justice Roberts on a couple of cases, willing to side with the justices appointed by Democratic presidents on the Supreme Court on issues like gay rights, gay marriage, abortion, so many other key social issues. Justice Kennedy has been the key vote. This is setting up a massive battle for the Supreme Court.
Yeah, and so with Kennedy retiring today, you're going to have a chance potentially for. And it's going to be an ugly battle, too. But remember, there's always the nuclear option. Somebody will throw that out there. You guys started it. So I don't know. I mean, the battle is going to be big, though. Just know this, because they realize, the Democrats realize how huge this is. If they hold serve. Because the battle's going to be huge. But let's say they hold serve. We're not going to go forever and a day without getting hearings and without getting somebody through. Without that. They're going to try to squeeze somebody through, obviously, before that. But the fight is going to be massive.
I think it's going to be an epic battle. But I have talked to people involved on the president's team on this. And they are going to push to get a person nominated and confirmed before the midterm elections. That will be a monumental task. Democrats will do everything in their power to prevent that from happening.
And if you think about this for a second, look at Merrick Garland. He never even got a hearing. So let's say they get somebody nominated and it doesn't go through because they don't even get a hearing. They won't, and the Republicans still control everything. The reality is if they do hold serve, if the November elections come and go and everything's kind of the way it is right now, a lot of that will depend on the economy and a few other things. At that point in time, even if they've tried to delay, they're going to have to eventually face the fact that it's going to be a win for this president. And that legacy, you can't underestimate that as a president, what this potentially could do, the ramifications long term. Not only that, but the Republican Party is licking their chops right now because they see where this could be headed. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I want to thank Zachary R. Wood for coming on the show today, talk about his book, Uncensored, My Life, and Uncomfortable Conversations at the intersection of black and white America. It's an amazing book. If you have a chance, check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Your useless fact of the day. Do you know why it's called the Windy City? Most people say, well, because of, the wind off Lake Michigan. Wrong. In the 19th century, people that were reporters and journalists said this place is full of hot air and a bunch of windbags, the Chicago place, hence the reason why they call it the Windy City. Have yourself a good rest of your hump day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night, Jack.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I think this is going to be the fight of the century. I think the Democrats have to say, no way, non passario, no one passes this line. I think it's going to be almost like Spanish Civil War stuff. You watch the next few months.
Craziness. You come out, you talk about it, you freak out. It's a civil war. Did you see that, what is it, some 39% of Americans thinks that we're close to having some sort of civil war? Based on what? First of all, I'm surprised you found 39% that can agree on anything, but based on what? Rhetoric from a bunch of politicians that really have no effect on your life on a day-to-day basis? Right? Because you have politicians that come out and they say crazy things. Yeah, our president last night saying stuff like this.
Democrats want judges who will rewrite the Constitution any way they want to do it and take away your Second Amendment, erase your borders, throw open the jailhouse doors, and destroy your freedoms.
It's insane. That's not the truth. I'm here to tell you right now, that's not the truth. Just like you have crazy moments from crazy people who come out and say like this.
Voting rights on the line. Worker rights on the line. Environmental rights on the line. What's at stake? The future of America is at stake. You sit there and shake your head, right? You sit here and you shake your head. You talk about this, and then you get passionate about it, and then somebody else gets heated and they get passionate about it, and the next thing you know, you're tweeting back and forth, and you think the person's tweeting you is angry and mad. All the while, the person tweeting you is doing something else, having something to eat. Now they reply to your comment, and then you reply to theirs, and they think that you're mad, and you're doing. The next thing you guys know, you guys are doing other things, and you're not really paying attention, but you're tweeting back and forth, and this is where the Civil War is supposed to come from. It's not going to happen. It's not. The Democrats don't want to steal everything. Do they want some form of gun control that makes their base happy? Yeah, but do they really want to see it go away? No, because quite frankly, they like the fact they can raise money on it. Right? They do. Do the right want to take away all rights for people of color and put them back in chains and put women back into the kitchen pregnant and stuff? And no, they don't. But that's how they raise money, and it's about getting you to get angry at one another so you take some form of action, because that's the only thing they know to do anymore. But I'm going to tell you guys something. Two people on the Supreme Court who, for all intents and purposes, were polar opposites. One was about 20 plus years older than her counterpart. She still serves today. The other one was the conservative champion of champions who cared more about the Constitution. These two people, or somebody in Oklahoma and somebody in San Francisco fighting, not knowing the reality of the whole thing. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a champion for the left. Anton Scalia, a champion for the right. Yet these two people weren't just friends. They were best of friends.
I think those views are just flat out wrong.
He's talking about some of his fellow justices, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a liberal who is, and this never ceases to surprise people, one of his best friends, both on and off the court.
I see the Constitution as striving for a more perfect union.
To her, the Constitution evolves and should reflect changes in society. that going back to what was meant originally when they wrote, for instance, "We the People," makes little sense.
There they are. Two polar opposites. Yet they managed to have a friendship and a relationship, both privately as two friends would, and business-wise, in the jobs that they held at the highest courts of the land. They had differences, but they managed to be friends. Because we've lost this way of being civil to one another and respecting that each other may not agree with each other. And instead, we throw everything out with the bathwater. We don't care. It's over. It's done. And we talk about a civil war because of things like the Supreme Court and this. It's insane. If these two can be friends, then can't we have some sort of civility? Because let's be real here. You may love the Constitution, but I doubt you loved it as much as Anton Scalia or Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I doubt you know it as much as them. And I doubt you understand the law as much as them. I know I don't. I'm the first one to raise my hand and said, no, probably not. Oh, I love the freedoms we have. I love the Constitution. But as far as an understanding and all these things, I doubt. These people have dedicated their lives to get there. And if they can be on polar opposites, yet somehow manage to be not only civil to each other, but work with each other in a way that they had a blossoming friendship. It's amazing. Yet we can't get along because we disagree on a Twitter or because we see somebody throwing firebombs on the old television screaming that the world's coming to some sort of end.
Were we the people in 1787? You would not be among we the people. African Americans would not be among the people.
Justice Ginsburg and you disagree.
We do indeed.
Lots of things. And yet you're such good friends.
Yeah, not just good friends. They were great friends. They vacationed together. They hung out together. They disagreed together. But they did it in such ways where they also realized that it was something. It wasn't the person at all. And that we don't separate that anymore.
I attack ideas. I don't attack people. And some very good people have some very bad ideas. and if you can't separate the two, you got to get another day job. You don't want to be a judge, at least not a judge on a multi-member panel.
But I think that needs to be all of us. If you can't separate the two, we don't anymore. We don't. You know, one of the things I pride myself on is the fact that I have friends of all makes, if you will. Right, because we always have to check off boxes. They're just my friends. They're people who I consider, some of them, family, more so than even friends. They've been there with me through the darkest times, and I've been there with them. I've got a friend who's very conservative. My best buddy, Kenny. His wife just had massive heart surgery. She had cancer twice when she was younger, and this is something that had to happen. So all of us together are talking, we're sending love, and we're calling every day, we're checking. And a lot of our friends are extremely progressive. But we've separated some of our ideas from our friendship. And we're able to talk about it and discuss it. And I think, to me, that is so important. But we've lost our way in this country. So when you hear things like 39% of us think there's going to be a civil war, some ridiculous number, I'm like, 39%? Who thinks this? Who thinks there's going to be a civil war? It's coming, Chad. It's not coming. It's not coming. Again, you could look at somebody and go, I disagree with your ideas. Here's the facts I have. You look at their facts, and then you go from there. Their idea is not that person as a whole, but we don't separate that anymore. Right? We don't separate that anymore. And that right there is ridiculous. Because why? Because we have now cloaked ourselves in a situation where we look around and whatever political ideology we have, we cloak ourselves in that. And we say to ourselves, boom, this is who I am as a human being. I am this. So when somebody challenges you, you take it so personally. Well, no, that's an idea of what you have, but you are more than that. You're a father. You're a mother. You're a business owner. You're so many of these things that we probably agree with. But because you've cloaked yourself in that and you only see yourself in that, we've taken everything personally, and that's ridiculous.
But do you ever take it personally?
No, I take it as a challenge. How am I going to answer this in a way that's a real put down?
I'm trying to figure out if there was ever real anger.
I would say exasperation is the word. As annoyed as you might be about his zinging dissent, he is so utterly charming, so amusing, so sometimes outrageous. But you can't help but saying, I'm glad that he's my friend or he's my colleague.
Because she saw past it, and he saw past it. And he knew the brilliance of her, and she knew the brilliance of them, and it wasn't personal. But so many people now have cloaked themselves in this bizarre ideology of tribalism that they make everything personal, and that is so stupid and so short-sighted. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I want to hear from you. Question of the day is, are you addicted to your smartphone? Are you addicted to your smartphone? Some of you, I think, are being honest. I will tell you this. I know I probably spend too much time on my phone. 28% say yes, 17% says no, 55% says maybe. Meaning there's probably times you feel addicted, and there's probably times where you're like, oh, I haven't checked my phone for a couple hours. Let me know. 323-538-2423. Take the poll at Facebook or at Chad Benson Show. I invest, right? Like that's kind of my jam. I did this for a while as a career. I've had many things that I've done. Radio was always my first love outside of soccer. But for a while I chased the money, and I was always interested in the financial world. And I was always like a lot of people, I'm always looking for what's next, right? What's the next thing that's going to be big? And when cryptocurrency started taking off, we got in early. We've been very fortunate. And it's an interesting thing. Because so many people ask me, well, I want to do that, but I don't know how to do that. Because it's not like, oh, just call up your broker. But more and more companies, Vanguard and stuff, they're getting into cryptocurrencies. They understand where it's going and the possibilities of what it might be. So you should take a look at it. Great course out right now. It's going to teach you everything you need to know from top to bottom. What are they? How do they work? Where can I spend them? Where do I buy them? What's a blockchain? You know, all of these things, because there's a lot of questions out there that people just don't know. And before you make an educated decision, you should get some education on it. Tiki Tawari from the Palm Beach Letters put together an amazing course. You can check it out for yourself at amazingcryptoclass.com. Amazingcryptoclass.com. Worst case scenario is you get a little education in something. Best case scenario is you learn something, you diversify, and you make a little money. Check out for yourself. Amazingcryptoclass.com. It's amazingcryptoclass.com. It is the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
That sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
Margaritas, Mexican food, and some high-visibility real estate right along Highway 29 in Napa. Yet owner Norm Sawicki says customers are mistaking his Red Hen for being affiliated with this Red Hen in Lexington, Virginia.
Oh, we got hundreds and hundreds of phone calls saying how nasty we were.
Why? Oh, that's right, because of Sarah Huckabee Sanders being tossed out. Now, by the way, they have nothing to do with each other. But this is the craziness of the world we live in. Somebody sees, oh, the Red Hen threw somebody out. Well, we've got a Red Hen here, too, and we're going to go after that Red Hen, and we'll show them. Somebody was arrested yesterday at the Red Hen in Virginia for throwing chicken fecal matter as they protest out there. But this poor guy, right? It just happens to be a coincidence of the name. And next thing you know, they're attacked because nobody bothers to do due diligence because we're lazy. And for some people, it's a double whammy. They're lazy and stupid.
Norm says after the owner of Lexington's Red Hen asked President Trump's press secretary, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, to leave her restaurant Friday night, a barrage of insults ensued. Yelp even posted an alert saying they were cleaning up the reviews on Norm's restaurant's page, which came from both sides of the political aisle.
Yeah, because you did have people going there. Yeah, that's great. You did that. That's horrible. And then other people going on, oh, my goodness, how could you, do that to somebody? And it's just stupid. Right? You get the right and the left. But once again, nobody does due diligence. Nobody does. Right? Nobody does due diligence whatsoever. They go in. And by the way, Norm takes the Michael Jordan approach to these things, which is Republicans buy snacks and food as well.
I thought it was very weird. I mean, we're not political here, you know. We're open to everybody. And unless you're disorderly, I want you as a customer.
There you go. And the famous line for Michael Jordan is, you know, why people ask him, why isn't he more political back in the day? Why doesn't he use his power, that he had of being the most famous athlete on earth at the time? And he said simply, Republicans buy shoes too. You know, now athletes have gone in a different direction. But the thing is, if one athlete protests, right, or does something, we don't hate another athlete on the other side of the country that has nothing to do with it. But that's what people are doing because they're so stupid. They are. They're just ridiculous.
This morning I actually Googled it, because if it had been part of the same company, we wouldn't have come here for dinner.
Jim Alexander is a regular at Napa's Red Hen Bar and Grill and was pleased to learn the restaurant is independent of the Lexington Red Hen.
We're Republicans, but when you get to see the people who run our country, you respect them and you respect them.
What do you think about people disrespecting a business owner?
I think that's wrong. By the same token, I think it's wrong for a business owner to disrespect the customers.
But they Googled it at least, right? They took the time. Remember, Google is this amazing thing. It's in front of us. We can go on and we can find out a lot of stuff. Now, you might have to do some digging. You may have to double check a few times. Some of the places you sent may not give you the full scoop, but it's not that hard. But at least they Googled it. Instead, they attack him. They go after him. And they're not even associated. But because you have the word Red Hen, we're coming for you.
Norm actually does feel like business is starting to bounce back. I spoke to a number of customers who said they specifically came to eat here because they heard about the news and wanted to support the restaurant.
Yeah, he was down about 30+% over the weekend, and he was worried because people are stupid, and some people are at the double whammy. They're stupid and lazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Question of the day is pretty simple. Are you addicted to your smartphone? It's that easy. Are you addicted to your smartphone? Some people are saying maybe, but a good majority, about 30% of you are saying so far, yeah, you're addicted to your smartphone. At least you're honest about it. I have... You know what's weird is because I'm always doing something for the show, and I'm texting somebody, but I'm always doing something for the show. It's weird because I play no games. I have no games on my phone. I don't play at all. 0 games. I don't even have a game downloaded on my phone. So it's weird because I know a lot of people play the Candy Crush. They do a lot of games in there. I just don't. And I'll check the Facebook maybe a couple times a day to make sure, you know, things are going on, because I'll ask a question or something. I'll see what the results are. But outside of that, it's just reading tons of articles, or that's it. And I rarely use the phone to call anybody. I don't know why they call it a phone, again, because when's the last time you really used it as a phone? 323-538-2423. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
The Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
What do we want?
Justice!
What do we want it?
No!
What do we want?
Justice!
What do we want it?
They want justice. They're protesting all over ICE, detention centers. They're going to be doing sit-ins, die-ins, whatever kind of ins that they can do, because they want ICE out. Look at the way I did that there. What kind of ins, outs? Never mind. It's, you know, this battle again, these battles that are out there, people get energized. They get charged up over certain things, immigration, the healthcare debate, you know, whatever it is, and they drape themselves in some of this wackiness. And, hey, look, I got no problem. Go out there and protest all you want. Go out there and be an activist all you want. But I think the rhetoric is we've lost our civility in this country to the point where, you know, you're hearing words like, you know, phrases like Civil War time, or just stop it. Just stop it, please. Enough. All right. You know, both sides they sling a lot of arrows at each other. right? And you've got a lot of people that are all about being provocative, and that's what they want on TV. They don't want to see some people come on and have a actual discussion about certain things. They want people who are going to sling arrows, who are going to say crazy things, because they know that's what gets the ratings. And remember, we get the government we deserve. And this is what we got right now. This is the government we've got because we deserve this government. Because look at the way that we consume even our media. Our media is about affirmation, not about real information. Our media is all about being provocative and being as half-ass entertaining, and so is our politics anymore. And that's on us. We could change it. But do we want to? Right? There's a reason that there are shows on TV where they put people in ridiculous situations and they argue and pull hair and fight and scream and yell, and it's drama because we like watching that. There's a reason that we turned a bunch of dopey kids from, South New Jersey, right, the shores, into what? Into stars, because we like the drama they got themselves into. Or housewives just hanging out in Beverly Hills and Atlanta and Orange County, because that's what we like this. We didn't like it when they had a regular show, when everybody was fine. We liked it when they fought. It's how we want our shows, right? Watch the sports shows nowadays. It's Stephen A. Smith versus this guy, right? It's Skip Bayless and yelling at this guy over here. That's all it is. We want conflict because it's entertaining. Look at school when you were a kid, right? If there was a fight, what did everybody do? They all got around the fight. Why? Because we wanted to watch it. If you knew there was going to be a fight after school somewhere, everybody had their place where everybody went, where they'd go off campus, where they knew they could squabble and nothing was going to happen, right? And everybody'd show up. Why? Because we knew. It's going to be entertainment. Stupid. It really is. That's why you have somebody show up and throw fecal matter at the Red Hen restaurant, which she had every right to ask Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Look, you know what? If the feeling is you don't want them there and this is you, it's your restaurant. I think you should be allowed to do whatever you want. Right? Shouldn't you? Don't you believe in freedoms? You should be allowed to do with what you want. It's your restaurant. But then you have somebody show up, and rather than protest, they take it a step further, right? You have the people that are so charged up about something, they show up at a softball practice or a baseball practice and shoot a bunch of senators and almost kill Steve Scalise. It's insane. And now you've got people protesting what's going on with immigration. And they're going to continue to do so because those people are at the point where they want free borders. They want free everything. They want to open up everything. You can't even have a real discussion with those people because they're at the point now where they've lost their way. It's only their way or their highway. And until we learn to respect each other, I think it's only going to get worse. But it's not going to devolve into a civil war. So ridiculous. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. He was a football player. Tyler Hilinski's his name. And he was 21 years old. I said he was 21 for a reason, because he's no longer living.
In January, Washington State quarterback Tyler Hilinski committed suicide. On Tuesday morning, his parents announced that he had beginning stages of CTE. Now, it is no secret that football leads to repetitive head trauma, which is a cause of CTE. What is most stunning and concerning about the Hilinski case is that he was only 21. He had not been playing football for more than 10, 12 years at most, unlike decades that NFL players have been playing.
Yeah, so he'd only been playing for a few years, 21 years old. His brain, how bad was it? That of a 65-year-old. Think about that for a second. His mother and father have been talking about what took place because they wanted to find out what happened. Their seemingly normal son living the dream, playing football at a big Pac-12 school. Life looks good, and then not so much.
A young boy, your son's age, had CTE. Was that, personally, I didn't know kids that young could even have that.
Well, we didn't either. I think, like Mark said, it was a shock.
to get those results and to find out that he had it, and to realize that the sport that he loved may have contributed to that diagnosis.
Well, I think it played a part. There's no doubt about that. And this is the fight I have with Jack all the time, who really, really wants to play football. He wants to play tackle football. And remember, this guy's a quarterback. This isn't, I mean, in the world that we live in, the people that you worry, kickers, you don't worry about kickers getting CT, right? You don't worry about quarterbacks, for all intents and purposes, getting CTE because we don't hit quarterbacks at practice. They rarely get hit in the game anymore because the game has changed really even more now than ever before. So, I mean, you look at this and you say to yourself, man, this is a kid who has CTE. Maybe some people are predisposed to it. Their brain, the way it is, the makeup of it. Because remember, as much as we know about the brain, we know very little about the deep ocean. We know even less about the brain. So, and who knows whatever else he could have gone through trauma-wise as a kid. But, this is a quarterback. This isn't a lineman. This isn't a linebacker. This is somebody who played special teams. This is a guy who probably got hit maybe 0 times at practice and very little in the game.
Medical examiner said he had the brain of a 65-year-old, which is really hard to take. It's really hard. You mentioned earlier he was the sweetest, most outgoing, giving kid. That was difficult to hear.
And you don't know if the CTE caused him to do this, right? You don't know that maybe his parents probably know him better. He's sweet and kind, but did he have depression issues as a child? Did he fight depression, or was this a sudden kind of thing? There's all these questions around it, but it's another reason why people are really paying attention to what's happening. And that's why I love my son, and we've got football practice this weekend, but he plays flag football. When he gets older, and hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, they're going to discover better ways to protect the people's heads, not just kids' heads, but other people's heads, adults' heads, because it's not just they're looking into it in Europe right now. And hockey, how has CTE affected players who had, like, I was never at all, I'm 5'10", but I didn't rise like a salmon, and my game was played on the ground. But I have had I look around and I play with guys who would head a ball 20 times a game, but in practice they'd hit it 20, 30, 40. They practice all the time. That's a heavy ball coming at your head. And think about playing in Europe with a heavy ball that is wet, so it's even heavier, coming from 60, 70 yards at 60 miles an hour. You think that's going to take a toll on somebody. That is. Here's the thing. The parents of Tyler Helinski here, they got another kid. And guess what he does?
Your other son, Brian, who was playing college football. Yeah. Did you want to say to him, honey, no, I'm sorry.
We're not doing it to him. Yeah. I mean, we got the results, and we didn't just get the results and hand him the results and say, read this. We did a lot of research. Can CTE be tested in the living? It can't. Is there a genetic or a hereditary link? They're not sure. So we had to find out as much information as we can, talk to experts, and let Ryan know.
Yeah. But at that point in time, what do you do? And remember, there are so many things at play here. Are there people that are predisposed to it? Is a certain amount of the population, and because so many kids play football, are a certain amount of the population that it's a numbers game, right? Is it genetic? All of these things, but the parents are coming out and saying, look, he did no, there was nothing. There was no other issues here.
Football causes repetitive head trauma. We know that repetitive head trauma causes CTE. This is a 21-year-old who had no other risk factors. Now, this is not to say that every kid who plays football is going to get CTE. Every kid who plays football is going to commit suicide or have behavioral problems. But it is something that parents need to be aware of. If you are letting your kid play football when you are 7, 8, 9 years old, 10 years old, before the age recommended by researchers, there are risks involved.
Yeah, there are. There's risk in all sports, but this is a lifetime risk. And it's something to think about. It really is. If you've got a kid out there,
You know, this isn't breaking a collarbone or having an ACL tear. This potentially could eventually lead to not. And we only think about CTE. We think about the players that have died, but there are many more players that are alive. Far more are still alive, and they struggle day to day. They don't remember things. They're quick to anger. They're quick to depression. They're addicted to all kinds of things. There's a lot of these players that are alive, far more than have passed away and or killed themselves, and that is a struggle to watch. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with us. We have your useless fact of the day. We've got your Twitter question of the day and working out. America, how much do we work out? Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Welcome to the last robot-free zone in America, where robot talk show hosts do not compute.
Oh, what an awful dream! Ones and zeros everywhere!
Do not compute.
Ugh, and I thought I saw it too.
The Chad Benson Show.
As age has creeped up on me, I noticed little things. Going up the stairs, I'm a little out of breath. Go hiking with my family, and I'm the last one in line. I'm much more calling up to the kids, can you bring this downstairs? Or if I'm sitting down, can you grab that glass of water for me? I'm not looking to go be a bodybuilder, so I just wanted everyday functionability.
10 seconds to go. Functional fitness is where you're training for everyday movements.
Functional fitness, that's the new thing, because we are out of shape. Apparently, only about 20% of America, 22% of America actually gets enough of the prerequisite exercise during the week. So you're supposed to have about 130 minutes or so, give or take, exercise, moderate exercise, or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise a week. And only about 20% of us do. It's not that hard. I'm always amazed that, like, everybody has excuse, right? I mean, it's not a hard thing to do. It isn't. It's everybody's looking for because we want the magic pill, right? Like, what's the magic pill? What's the thing that's going to save us? What's the thing that's going to make it easier for us to survive? What's the thing that's going to just do something awesome for us so we don't have to work out? And I'm amazed that people just don't get it. I mean, you can do all kinds of things. Even standing at your desk, go for a walk every 10. I mean, if you went for a walk, I was watching this guy on TED Talk. Great, very interesting guy on TED Talk talking about just little changes. That if you walked every day for, X amount of minutes, right? Let's just say you as a human being, right? Because I'm going to go with you guys are all human beings. Do 15 minutes of walking every single day that you're not doing now. Do you realize that that's almost 5,500 minutes a year? And it's just 15 minutes. Even if you do 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes at a time. Right? Like, that's huge. That is huge. But most people won't do any of those things.
We don't think about how a squat will translate into an everyday world. But we squat every time we sit down. Getting into a car, getting off the couch. When we're traveling in the airports, we're putting things into the overhead compartments. That's a shoulder press.
I can totally feel this in my stomach. They had me do certain exercises and ask, how does that feel? Where are you feeling that?
We're at the thing, we always need something like, it's like it's got to be something specific. It can't just be like, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to lift weights for 20 minutes and maybe I'll run the treadmill for 10, 15 minutes. Like that right there alone, for most people, would be like, wow. Or I'm going to go take an extra walk here. We have to have like, okay, we've got to put together a super awesome, interesting thing to get people into it. And then when you ask anybody, it's like you see people have had this great transformations. You ask, well, how'd you do it? It's like most of the time it's like, well, I worked out more and I ate less. I don't know. It's like, but was like, did you go to take a special course? No. Like instead of eating 4,000 calories a day, I kept to a 2,000 calorie a day diet and I tried to walk like 10,000 steps a day. Okay, but did you have a special course where a person teaches you how to do these kind of things? You're like, no, this is what I did.
After about 2 months, I noticed the aches and pains going away. I have lost some weight. I feel healthier. I feel like my muscles are stronger and they support me better. And I want to be out there with the kids having the fun versus sitting in the chair and watching everybody else have those moments.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's not that hard, people. It isn't, right? I mean, it's just a pretty simplistic thing. You just kind of work out a little bit more and you eat a little bit less. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I feel a lot better. Not hard. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet along with us. Poll question today. It's about that smartphone in your hand, which is really more a mobile computing device, but that doesn't sound as cool. Maybe that should be your MCD, your mobile computing device, or your smart computing device, the SM, or was it be the Smart S Computing C Device D, SCD? Oh, I like that. Are you addicted to it? According to this, 27% of you say yeah. 23% says no, I'm not. 50% say maybe. I think we all know we have some we might not even be addicted to the phone. It might be what the phone does. Like, okay, I can go to Facebook. I'm addicted to Facebook. Or I'm addicted to Twitter. Or I'm addicted to a game, so I may not pick my phone up and see who's texting me or calling me because I don't care. I'll play a game on here, and if I don't have the phone around, I'll pick up and play the game on the iPad or a tablet. Maybe that's what you're addicted to. I don't know. Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. You can tweet at us as well. You can text the program 323-538-2423. Your useless fact of the day. The car itself costs $2 million. It is a Bugatti. Those are really nice cars. If you like a Bugatti and you have that kind of money and you have to be cool, you can't just buy one. You can't just say, I got $2 million, I'd like to buy one. No, there's a vetting process. But if you get this car, know this, and it really doesn't matter if you have this kind of money, that an oil change alone in this car will cost you upwards of $20,000. No Jiffy Lube there, kids. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Night, Jack.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
This is the Chad Benson Show.